Hello everybody and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. This is another episode of First Appearances of the Week. This is Wednesday, August 17th, 2022. We'll be giving you all the first appearances in your comic shops today. Now this week we have a pretty good lineup for you guys. I think we have 6 first appearances, 5 honorable mentions, so 11 titles in all to go through. Definitely some books in there you want to pick up for your collection. So let's go ahead and get started for the first appearances of the week ending August 19th, 2022. First up from DC Comics, Black Adam number 3. This features a possible first team appearance of a pantheon of gods from outer space. Now, the Black Adam title series is a new series for DC Comics. They're releasing this mostly to tie in with the movie that's going to hit theaters here very soon. You know, any popularity in this franchise right now will be driven by the fact that The Rock is starring in Black Adam, the feature film. So this one here, really tough to say how this is going to age, if there's any future potential in this particular series or the characters introduced into this series. And this also features the possible first team appearance, so you do want confirmation that this is the first team appearance before you pick this one up. Like I said, the book hits the shelves a little later on today, so we really won't know until we get the book in our hands. So this one here, you definitely want to do a little bit more research before you choose to pick it up. If you do choose to pick it up, this is definitely going to be speculative, so keep that in mind. This one here, we do think you have some time on this one. You can put this one on your B-list for now, but keep an eye on it. Next up from DC Comics, DC vs. Vampires All-Out War number 2. This features the first appearance of Baron Cinder. Now, the DC vs. Vampires title series from DC Comics is definitely one of their B series. It's not one of their mainstay series, so this one here, definitely speculative if you choose to pick it up. This does feature the first appearance of a new character, but it really depends on what DC does with this character that they're introducing into this more or less B title series. So this one here, once again, very speculative if you choose to pick it up. You're just betting on the fact that DC may do something with this character in the future. That's kind of a big bet in our opinion. We think this one here you have some time on as well. Put this one here on your B list, but keep an eye on it. Next up from Marvel Comics, Edge of Spider-Verse number 2. This features the first appearance of a new Spider UK. Now, we always mention this with the Marvel titles. It's always good to pick up first appearance of new characters in the Marvel titles. And this is a Spider-Man or Spider-Verse title. This one here does feature the first appearance of a new Spider character or Spider superhero called Spider UK. So in our opinion, this one here is probably worth picking up for the cover price, you know, just a spec on to see what Marvel does with this particular character. You know, they could do a lot with these animated series these days, and you really don't know what Marvel's going to do with some of these characters that they're introducing into the Spider-Verse. So this one here, in our opinion, is probably worth picking up the spec on. It is a little bit more speculative, but once again, for the cover price, you don't want to end up paying more for this later. So pick this one here up if you can. If you can't, put it on your B-list, but keep an eye on it. Next up from Marvel Comics, Star Wars The Mandalorian number 2. This features the first full appearance of Grogu in a comic book story. This one here, definitely pick this up for your collection. You know, the Mandalorian series, people love that series. Grogu, fan favorite character. Everybody loves that character. There's a ton of merchandising and push with this character within the Mandalorian storyline. So this one here is a must-have for your collection. For the cover price of $3 or $4, you know, you get the first appearance of Grogu in a comic. So this one here is a definite must-have. Grab this one here for your collection. Next up from Marvel Comics, Star Wars number 26. This features the first appearance of John and Beverly, nephew and niece-in-law of Kira. It also features the first appearance of Major Shirin, General Palton, and Ambassador Givens. Now once again, within a Marvel title series, you want to pick up first appearance of new characters, and this is the Star Wars title series, the flagship title series for the Star Wars franchise. So this one here, once again, this is one you do want to pick up. You know, Marvel Disney is still churning out a ton of feature films and streaming series for the Star Wars franchise, so you never know where these characters may end up that they're introducing into the comic books. It's always worth picking these up for the cover price. For $3 or $4, you could be sitting on a winner, so go ahead and grab this one here as well. And finally from Image Comics, The Last Shadow Hulk number 1. This features the first appearance of a new Witchblade. You know, Witchblade is one of the fan favorite characters of the Image titles, and this one here features the first appearance of a new Witchblade. This one here, in our opinion, is probably worth picking up the spec on. You know, Witchblade is not as popular as, let's say, as some of the Marvel superheroes or DC superheroes, but you know, for the cover price, probably worth picking this one here up if you can. Go ahead and grab this one. If you can't, put on your B-list, but definitely keep an eye on this. And now for the honorable mentions. From Vault Comics, Heart Eyes number 1. A boy meets a girl beneath the graveyard of San Antonio in the days after sanity-eaten monsters ended humanity. Now, we always say this with these small press and indie press titles. You know, if they get picked up an option for a small screen, big screen project, that's a huge driver for these title series. And this one here sounds like it can lend itself very well to a TV show, streaming series, or feature film. So this one here does sound like it has some promise to be picked up an option. So in our opinion, this is probably worth specking on. Go ahead and grab this one here if you can. If you can't, put on your B-list, but keep an eye on it. Next up from Jack in the Box, The Return of Mark Hamill, a comic book number 1. Now this here is the never-before-told, mostly true story of Mark Hamill's early days working at the Jack in the Box drive-thru window and his bittersweet departure. This was a promotional giveaway on jackinthebox.com with no limit and free shipping, so who really knows how many were actually shipped and sent out. This one here, super cool. If you could find this anywhere, we actually went looking for this on jackinthebox.com and we only found the digital downloads, so they were already out of the physical copies. If you could find this one here, this is a must-have. This is one you do need to pick up. This is a promotional copy featuring the return of Mark Hamill working in the drive-thru of Jack in the Box. This is fantastic just to have as a conversation piece. This is one, you do want to get this one. If you can find it anywhere, pick this one up for your collection. Next up from IDW, True Cult number 1. An unambitious guy concocts what he thinks the perfect heist, but becomes the target of a satanic cult after unwittingly stealing a supernatural weapon. Now this is one we highlighted a few weeks ago, but for whatever reason, printing or manufacturing issues, it did not come out, so it's coming out this week. And this is one we do think you should probably pick up the spec on. This is definitely going to be a speculative bet, but IDW has had some of their titles picked up in the past, an option for small screen and big screen projects. Like I said, that's a huge driver for these indie titles. And this one here sounds like it lends itself very well to one of these projects. So in our opinion, it's probably worth picking up the spec on. Grab this one here if you can. If you can't though, put it on your B-list and keep an eye on it. Next up from Marvel Comics, Iron Cat number 3. This features a debut of new and upgraded Iron Cat armor. Now, any future value of this book is going to be driven specifically on the popularity of Iron Cat and how the public or fans accept the Iron Cat character. This features a debut of new and upgraded Iron Cat armor. So this one here is going to be a little bit more speculative because you're really betting on the fact that Iron Cat is picked up and people care for this character. If you can though, grab this one here for the cover price. Like I said before, you don't want to pay more for these later on. So for the cover price, go ahead and grab it if you can. If you can't, put it in your B-list, but keep an eye on it. And finally for Marvel Comics, Avengers 1 million BC number 1. This features the origin of Thor, retcon story of his birth. Now, we've already had origin stories for Thor. This one here is the Avengers 1 million BC. It really depends on what Marvel does with this particular arc. If they bring this particular storyline into a small screen, big screen project, get a little bit more eyes on it, make this kind of the more modern day origin of Thor, the retelling of the origin of Thor, then this here is one you probably want to pick up and have in your collection. Otherwise, this is just another origin of Thor story. So this one here is definitely going to be speculative if you choose to pick it up. But Marvel and Disney is still churning out a ton of feature films, TV shows, and streaming series, and you don't know where they're going to pull storylines from. So this one here may be worth picking up the spec on. Grab it if you can. If you can't, though, put it on your B-list and keep an eye on it. So there you have the 11 titles that we have for you guys this week. There's definitely some books in there you want to pick up for your collection, especially the Return of Mark Hamill. If you guys can find that anywhere, grab that one. That's just a super cool book to own. Please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.